Gaming Bolt presents 15 hardest video game boss fights of 2018 so far. We've seen some amazing bosses come from 2018 already, filling that need we all have for toppling the gigantic, unbeatable foes and proving ourselves worthy. Whether bringing down an Elder Dragon or fighting against giant enemies, we're taking a moment to discuss some of the best fights of the year so far. Beware of spoilers. Please note that this list will have multiple entries from the same games. This is because we're dealing with a limited number of games here and only for the first half of the year. If you have anything to add, please let us know in the comment section below. Monster Hunter World, Tempered Deviljho. While the Deviljho seen much earlier in the game can be taken down with relative ease, the tempered version added to the late game as an event is a different story altogether. The huge beast is incredibly well armored and aggressive, meaning players are going to constantly want to be on the move, only moving in to punish when completely safe to do so. A mobile weapon that allows such quick strikes is advised. Bonus points for Dragon Element. Dark Souls Remastered. Dragon Slayer Ornstein and Executioner Smough. The iconic duo of Ornstein and Smough is a duo of extremes, with the large and paradoxically agile Ornstein wielding lightning powers to overcome dragons, and Smough being a savage executioner with an immense power to back him up. Using a summon of either another player or Solaire himself to bring the fight back to a 2-on-2 is generally recommended, but whatever you do, focus on one at a time. The first to fall will empower the other, bringing them back to full health regardless of how close to death they were before. Sigrun. The Queen of the Valkyries, Sigrun can only be taken on after the other 8 are found and defeated. She is also able to pull out any of the various tricks from the other 8, meaning she's going to require the player to identify what she's doing and counter within a moment's notice. Playing defense with your back to the wall and ready to dodge her diving attacks is key to felling Sigrun. Dark Souls Remastered, Manus. The terrible Manus, father of the abyss and source of the darkness that engulfs the land, is a twisted abomination who twists Artorias into what he becomes in the main game. You'll need a stable shield in order to stand up to his aggressive physical attacks, and likely a silver pendant to protect against the dark magic he begins to use at low health. Explorative adventurers might even be able to see backup from Sif herself. Ni no Kuni 2, Thwomp. Thwomp might not look like the world-ending enemy some super bosses are, but the level 95 creature is a terror nonetheless. Able to control fire to the degree of summoning huge tornadoes if you're too close, and he is lightning quick on its feet. A savvy player will come to this fight having grinded up to a similar level and having the best gear to take down the deceptively tricky boss. VAMPYR, Red Queen. The source of all vampires, the Red Queen is an ancient, terrifying entity that has nearly lost all physical form. For the final showdown with her avatar, it can be mostly a cakewalk, to downright impossible depending on how many of London's citizens you've embraced. The endless pool of blood you fight her in can heal her and raise numerous blood clones to attack you in her stead. You're going to want to save some serious ammunition to take her down. Monster Hunter World, Lunastra. A terrifying blue elder dragon who will attack upon sight and may or may not be bringing her mate with her for the ride. Her blue dust is flame hot, but won't apply fire blight at least. You'll need to pack some cool drinks just to not be hurt by the hot air around her, and might want to bring some bombs too. Octogeddon, Mech Force 1 Final Boss. The best boss on this list by far, and everyone knows independent developers make the best bosses. Huge. Taking your monstrous creation through Octogeddon to the end of Mission 5 will place the player up against Mech Force 1. Metal Gear Survive, Frostbite. The huge floating jellyfish monster known only as Frostbite will terrorize the general area of Transporter Number 7, following on from another post-game boss battle. Players are going to want to engage in an area with lots of buildings to cut line of sight and be able to get the drop on it with sniper fire or mortars. Active camo doesn't hurt either to keep the creature from spotting you immediately. When you can stun it to the ground, move in quickly for some quick barrages with a basic shotgun for massive damage. Warhammer Vermintide 2, Burblespue Halescourge. The rotund and powerful Chaos Sorcerer, Bulbasaur Houndoom, is still a difficult fight after developer Fatshark nerfed him in a patch that makes reference to the community poking fun at Hail Satan's ridiculous name. What isn't a laughing matter is the confined arena the player faces him in and the numerous enemies he summons to help him in battle. Learn to dodge his plague waves quickly or you'll be the next part of his undead army. Yakuza 6, Joe Amon. The mysterious assassin of the Amon clan, Joe Amon does his best Agent Smith impression to try to intimidate his enemies, but can never quite decide on a line. Only appearing throughout the series as a super boss leveraging the same moveset as Kiryu himself, Amon goes full Rambo within the Yakuza 6 battle. When health gets low, Amon will begin to summon drones and setting off landmines that will interrupt the player's attacks, making even landing a hit a miracle. Monster Hunter World, Nergigante. Known as the Extinction Dragon, the Nergigante is a terrifying elder dragon with an ability to produce spikes in numerous locations on its body, which if not broken right away will quickly harden and augment its attacks. As is typical, since you can't capture or trap it, staying on the move and using a hit-and-run style of offense is key to victory, as is staying far clear of the hardened black spikes, which will deflect attacks. Dark Souls Remastered, Black Dragon Kalameet. The single-eyed ancient dragon Kalameet is older than most other entities in the game, and even getting into battle with him properly requires some help from Hawkeye Go, who will help incapacitate the fiend to level the playing field. Even with that aid, he isn't a walk in the park, requiring players to constantly circle or else they'll quickly meet the business end of his fire breath. Whether you take a high stamina hit and run approach or a heavily armored stand your ground style, go full defense when he gets his telekinesis off on you or you'll take double damage from his attacks, likely ending you. Dynasty Warriors 9, Taishi C. The historical Taishi C was an archer of some skill, but the Dynasty Warriors 9 version is a battle against a hulking man of great strength. In a game where players are used to carving their way through the hordes like a knife through butter, C is nearly a Dark Souls invasion with how proficiently he is able to dodge roll and block attacks. Just when you think you have the upper hand, he rallies a mob of boss assassins to divide your attention. Divide and conquer, they say, is the art of war. Metal Gear Survive, Big Mouth. Quite unlike the other endgame bosses discussed earlier, the Big Mouth is probably one of the most metal things we've seen. Taking on the giant T-Rex with guns involves a more open area and focus on taking the thing head-on over stealth. After the monster wears out one of its 3 attack options, it will chew off its own limb to move to the next one after a time. During this period, the smart play is to trick the creature into playing Dodongo and eating an explosive barrel or C4. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.